and nothing's happening on the side, everything's happening by the mercy of the Guru, and nothing's happening on the side of the disciple. They just pray and they wait. So, one thing is, if you pray for mercy, the mercy might come. Then what are you going to do? Sometimes you pray for something and it comes and you realize you don't want it. You're not ready for it. So, it's not that the disciple does nothing, but if the disciple's praying for mercy, it means he wants it, and when it comes, he'll take it and use it. So that's one thing. And it also does not mean that because the disciple is praying, he's not making an effort. He is making an effort, but he knows that the ultimate result will come from the mercy. It's not like his effort is everything. That's the idea. But it's not like our effort is not everything, but it's not that therefore we don't make an effort because it's not everything. Prabhupada always says that when the spiritual master is pleased with the disciple, so how is he going to be pleased with the disciple? The disciple's going to do something. When he's pleased with the disciple, then he gives mercy. And by that mercy we advance. Yes, Prasada, Bhagavad. So there is a balance there. The spiritual master is always willing to give mercy, so it's more of a question of receiving the mercy, because the mercy is there for all of us. And sometimes you see one devotee makes more advancement than another, but we've all received the same mantra, received the same books, the same service. Right? So it's about receiving the mercy. Of course, you can pray, please help me receive your mercy, but I don't think Prabhupada likes that kind of prayer. It's almost like a cop-out. I'm giving you the mercy, now you're praying to me to receive it. I just gave it to you. What's your problem? Just take it. Something like that. Right? So, if somebody doesn't take it, then obviously they don't advance, but the mercy is always being given equally to everyone. So, of course we can pray, give me the strength to follow your instructions, all these things. But definitely if we're praying like that, there should be the determination to do what we're praying for. Now, of course, sometimes we're so helpless and fallen, we just pray because that's all we can do. We don't have the strength. But that's there also. But in general, if we're praying for something, we should have the determination to follow through on what we're praying for. That's the idea. At least, there's a fine line between mercy and the mode of ignorance. The mode of ignorance is I don't do anything. They're not going to be able to hear that, it's too far away. You should have it right here. All the way. Be merciful on your audience. Well, do you have the microphone? Or? No, the clip-on.
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Okay. So, because you have a fine line between when dependence empowers and when dependence weakens. Just like, it's not like a football field in between. It's very close. Because when dependence weakens, it means it's an action of the mode of ignorance. Right? Krishna, Krishna. Govind. Where's your new mixer? This temple, this sound system definitely needs your new mixer. Krishna, Govind.
Not this one. Yeah, that's right.
So, if dependence is empowering, then it's transcendental. If dependence is weakening, it's tamagun. Krishna Govinda Harinda. Because there's even recognized in the world of psychology dependency which can disempower. And of course, we have codependency in an empowering way. So that the connotation is all codependency is weakening. But we're very dependent on our guru. We can't, that's for sure. But we're not dependent in a way that's weakening. For example, when the spiritual master leaves, we have experience because Prabhupada left, and some of you have experience already, your spiritual masters left. When the spiritual master leaves, if we had unhealthy codependence, it's very difficult. If we had healthy codependence, it's not, because you feel he never left. He's still there, I'm serving his mission. I'm doing what I always did, I'm hearing from him. But if you had unhealthy codependence, then you wouldn't be able to function well in your spiritual life without his presence. So we saw that with Prabhupada. Some people, even when Prabhupada was here, they had so much association with him, it was difficult for them to function well if they didn't have a lot of association. So that's not helping. Srila Prabhupada said that he only met his guru on 6 occasions. So he was making the point that it's not that you have to be with your guru all the time. But as we said, he was always with his guru. So he said, I met him on 6 occasions, but you could say he met him every day. He was with him every day. So Prabhupada was not dependent on the personal association. He was living the instructions of his guru, so he was always with him. That's an important point. So definitely we need to be dependent on the guru, because ultimately everything is by his mercy, as the song so nicely explains. What can we do without his mercy? And, atheism is like everything happens, by our effort. So it's not that we don't make effort and things don't happen by our effort, but atheism is all 100% our effort. There is no other person or energy, right? It's just us. So, in spiritual circles, we know everything happens by the mercy of Guru and the mercy of Krishna. We know that. It's like our whole life is just a personification of their mercy, because without their mercy, all this effort we make wouldn't produce much, if anything. I think most devotees had some spiritual path before they were devotees, without connection with the Guru in a bona fide parampara. And so they're doing their meditations and all this, and they're still struggling, and they're not making much advancement, isn't it? I remember, because I was doing meditation, and I started chanting, like one kirtan blew all the advancement away of my meditation, it's just like that was like years of meditation, and one kirtan was like, well, that was faster and better, something like that. That's mercy. So, or Shastra says that if you get a mantra, if you're initiated and you get a mantra, but the guru is not bona fide, the mantra doesn't have Shakti, so you're chanting it, you're making an effort. There's no kripa Shakti in your mantra because it's not connected. So you could do meditation many, many days, many hours a day, and nothing happens. So that's a demonstration of mercy. But to think that I always have to get the association of my guru, the praise of my guru, have to be the pet disciple and all that, that's unhealthy, because you don't. And I think we could say Prabhupada was the pet disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta with only a few hours here and there of association, because of what he did. So, you want to get the association. How do we get the association of Prabhupada? You serve his mission. You will experience that association. You'll feel very close, just as Prabhupada felt very close to his guru. That's how he got his association. And Prabhupada wanted us to spread the mission he created. So if you're spreading the mission that Prabhupada created, you feel very close because it's his mission. Like you're serving in his mission. You're distributing his books. You're giving his teachings. You're so close. It's like, even though you're the grandchild still, that doesn't matter. the time span doesn't matter. Prabhupada is always present with those who serve him. So that's how, when you feel separation from Guru, one of the best ways to have their association is to hear from them and serve their mission. And we're all within Prabhupada's mission. In so many places, Prabhupada said, I want you all to be spiritual master, meaning I want you all to all be teachers and take people under you that you can guide and take responsibility for them. So it doesn't mean you initiate them necessarily, but that you will help them and take responsibility. And when we all do that, we're all connected with Prabhupada, because that's the thing that's most dear that he wanted. I want to read something to you. You're going to be rewarded for coming on time. And others will have to hear this in the recording. This is very, very beautiful, and it really sets a good mood for the Vyasa Puja. Some devotees become very excited about sadhus with higher realizations, who regularly speak about confidential Vrindavan Leelas in an intimate, attractive manner. Such devotees, well, I would say some, seem to think that Srila Prabhupada had a lower realization because he almost always spoke the simple, basic philosophy of Krishna consciousness. I mean, it could appear that way. Someone could question, did Prabhupada have a higher realization? He wasn't speaking about these intimate things. He almost always spoke the simple, basic philosophy of Krishna consciousness, and was most cautious about speaking of esoteric subjects. However, simply speaking about high topics does not constitute the highest realization. The highest realization is to sacrifice everything to serve Krishna as he wants. Krishna wants Prithivite Ache Yada Nagarari Gram Sarvata Prachahobe Moronam, preaching in every town and village. Srila Prabhupada was always absorbed in preaching Krishna consciousness. He generally spoke in a simple manner, at a philosophical level accessible to all. He hardly ever discussed the subtleties of Rasa Tattva or other intimate topics, or at least not in public. In his books, Some people have concluded, therefore, that Prabhupada is a lesser guru who teaches only on a lower level. Maybe they have not heard that even higher than Madhurya, the sweet exchange of Krishna and the gopis in Vrindavan, is Audarya, the mood of liberal distribution of Krishna Bhakti, exhibited by Lord Chaitanya. Even if we consider Madhurya Ras as the highest, what is the essence of Madhurya? It is sacrificing everything for Krishna, just as the gopis did. No one of his generation sacrificed to that level, to the level that Prabhupada did. Others may speak of prema, but Prabhupada demonstrated his prema by going all over the world, preaching and convincing the atheists and demons, or at least taking them on. So I'm going to skip. There's a story here. The position of a Vaishnava can be tested by seeing how good a touchstone he is. This is from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. That is, by seeing how many Vaishnavas he has made during his life. And this is the highest realization, and Srila Prabhupada had it. There is no one in this world more dear to Krishna, nor will there ever be one more dear. So here's a story. Summer of 1975 in Detroit. We were on a morning walk, and the devotees were consistently asking Srila Prabhupada questions about the gopis, their love for Krishna, and intimate dealings. Doesn't mean we shouldn't talk about these things, but this is for a private discussion. And most of the devotees at that time were not, they were young devotees, not very qualified. It seemed it was a subject matter that Srila Prabhupada did not want to get into very much. It even appeared as if he was getting a little annoyed that the devotees continued to ask these questions about the gopis and their relationship with Krishna. The morning walk continued in this way for some time. And I had been constantly thinking what I could say to please Srila Prabhupada. In other words, he was feeling awkward that everyone's talking about the gopis, and he could sense it was inappropriate. And it was disturbing Prabhupada. So what could I say that would please him? I'm sure other devotees were thinking like this too. We were all eager for his attention. At one point, when we turned around to go back to the parked cars, I was filled with so much intensity as to what I could say to Srila Prabhupada, something to show some appreciation for him. I was scared, shy, so many things. But finally I said, Prabhupada! When I said his name, somehow Prabhupada just stopped and looked right at me. I said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm a book distributor in Chicago. We are distributing so many of your books. Our desire is to really please you by this book distribution in Chicago. Our desire is somehow or other be able to distribute 100 books each and every day for your satisfaction. And Prabhupada just looked at me. I was practically in a state of shock. I could barely get these words out. My throat was choked up. I was shaking. But I felt I just had to say this to Srila Prabhupada. I wanted to remember that I had said something to Prabhupada in this lifetime. In other words, this must have been the first thing he ever said. All of a sudden, he broke out into a huge smile. He then said, just see, this is my real disciple. My real disciple is always thinking how to please the spiritual master. And he realizes how to please me. And he realizes how to please me is to distribute these books. This is an example. This is an example of a real devotee. He kept telling me how nice it was that I had this desire, how pleased he was by the book distribution. Of course, it's not just book distribution, but any devotee has a strong desire to serve in many other ways, and Prabhupada would respond in a similar way. He continued to smile and concluded by saying, thank you very much. So, Prabhupada's example, it's like so obvious of what he did in capturing the essence of the mission of his guru, isn't it? It's like so obvious. And if you want an example of what to do, well, there it is. If you want an example how to please Prabhupada, well, do what he did. And I told this story before. I don't know if you've all heard it. It's such a beautiful story. Similar to this story, some devotees were discussing Gopi Bhav, the emotions of the gopis, and so many things about the gopis. And they were not devotees of ISKCON, they were devotees of another organization, Gaudiya organization, and they were discussing, like what is being spoken of here, discussing intimate, trying to understand. I mean, we should try to understand the gopis' love, that's for sure. But sometimes it may go beyond our pay level, and it's like eating too much. You get indigestion. So there's one of our godbrothers, Achyutananda Prabhu, and he was invited there. And so they're, talking, as I understand the story, it was pretty esoteric, or deep. And he said, well, if you want to understand the gopis' love, it's quite simple. The gopis' love is this. When you're 69 and you get on a boat to go to America and sacrifice your life to spread Krishna consciousness, that's the gopis' love. So just that is how Prabhupada thinks. You bring it down to something practical, not like we can talk about the love and then okay, let's take prasadam and take a little rest and do a little bhajan. No. And of course, we should do these things, but Prabhupada understood the mission of his guru, so that was not enough for Prabhupada. And so maybe we could add to this, when you understand the mission of your guru, and you sacrifice yourself for that mission, that's Gopi Bhav. That's what it means. And if we study Prabhupada, we can see time and time again, he asked his disciples, you all become guru. Guru means teacher. So not necessarily that everyone will have disciples, but I think what's really important is when you use the word guru, that means if you're connecting people to Krishna and you take care of them, you stay with them. You don't just drop them off at the bus station and say goodbye. And you brought them to Krishna, you've given birth, they're your children, you take care of them. So if every follower of Srila Prabhupada did that, then Krishna consciousness would spread widely. And Prabhupada used to talk a lot. When you all become guru, you all have disciples. It's just like I have 5,000, you all have 10,000. Like he really wanted us to take responsibility for spreading Krishna consciousness. And obviously he's leaving, he can't do it. So if we don't do it, it's not going to happen. And if you feel affection for Prabhupada and his movement, you want to not only maintain it, but you want to expand it. Because that's what he wanted you to do. Like someone will ask me, why did you become guru? Who do you think you are? Only because it was Prabhupada asked over and over and over, like all the time, right from the beginning he was asking. So maybe you won't become Diksha Guru, maybe that's not your calling in life. But he always said, all my disciples become Guru. So in a sense, Siksha Guru is more important because you're taken back to Godhead by the instructions. Not just by a ceremony. I guess this is the initiation lecture now. Yeah. It is the instruction, because we see that, and often a disciple will have a deeper connection with a Siksha Guru than a Diksha Guru because those instructions had more meaning to them. Maybe their Diksha Guru had more of a passive role or a backseat role. Sometimes in the history of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, you'll see that they're just giving initiation, but they're not really instructing so much. And so the disciple, even the Diksha Guru will say, go to this Guru and take instruction. So that Guru becomes prominent because that's the one who's guiding them. This is the path back to Godhead. Right? It's like, who's more, you go to the university and you go to the administrative office and they allow you in the university, but the most important thing is what you learn there. Not that you just hang out on campus. So your teachers are very important. Not that your Diksha Guru isn't a teacher, but of course he is, but in some cases he's not the most important teacher, and in some cases he's not even teaching. In our movement we're all teaching, but sometimes you don't have so much access. So that's what Prabhupada meant. Right? And it's not just that physically you're teaching, but you're somehow or other bringing people closer to Krishna through various means, through your chanting, your cooking, your deity worship, your writing, your painting, your drama, whatever it is. But that mission it's really a mission of compassion. It was Prabhupada's compassion. You could say, well, Prabhupada was dedicated to the order of his guru, and that's true, and that's why he came. But I think equally it's because he had compassion. It wasn't just, like for us, we go out and spread Krishna consciousness because Prabhupada has compassion, and he'll sacrifice way more than we will for people. So his compassion is what pushes us, right? He has much more than we do. But I think in Prabhupada's case, although he was duty-bound to represent the compassion of his guru and the whole disciplic succession, he had equal amounts of compassion. It's different from us. Do you ever do some preaching programs and like that? You're like, this is so hard, I should have stayed home and eaten potato chips or something. Why did I do it? Because my guru wanted me to. I didn't really want to do it. My guru. So many times when I travel, I'm home and everything's like organized and regular, and it's just it's very easy, and it's better for my health. And then it's time to go, and I tell my wife, I don't want to go. It's like this is just like everything becomes unregulated and upside down. So that would be an example. Well, why are you going? Well, Prabhupada wants you to. We have to represent him, and it's his compassion. But his compassion is like he'll suffer 100 times more for the fallen conditioned souls than I would be willing to. Right? Isn't it? So, But in Prabhupada's case, it wasn't like that. It wasn't just duty to his guru, just his guru's compassion. It was his compassion. And that's why he wouldn't stop, even to the last moment. So, how could you not see that example? It's so obvious what to do. It's so obvious what Prabhupada wants us to do because he did it. And he's Acharya, and he sets an example so that he always pushed that. Become guru. And, so whenever you hear that, become guru, don't freak out and think, well, he's talking to somebody else. It doesn't mean you have to be some big guru on a Vyasa-san. People are washing your feet. But it means you help people become Krishna conscious and you take responsibility. That's what it means. And in some way, that's what it means. Somehow. You can be sitting at home writing a book or recording a song, but the mood is give it. I want to give this to people. That's what Prabhupada wanted. So it's good to meditate on this on his appearance day. And meditate on his example, because it's such a perfect example. The story I've often told Prabhupada was in Mayapur, he was actually in Shantipur before he came to America. And he was chanting and crying. Vijay said, why are you crying? Vijay knew him because Prabhupada used to go there when he was younger. And Vijay saw him in saffron. Now Prabhupada would be in white, now he's in saffron. Looks familiar. And then he goes up to him and says, oh, it's you. Why are you, sure they had an exchange, but why are you crying? And he said, my spiritual master's given me a mission that's impossible. They had that movie. Is it a movie or a TV show? Mission Impossible. He's given me a mission. It's impossible. I'm totally unqualified to do it. Mission impossible. He's given me a mission that's impossible to execute, and I'm just praying for his mercy. So, we all feel like that, don't we? Prabhupada wants the whole world to become Krishna conscious. Like, how do you do that? I can hardly keep myself Krishna conscious. How am I going to, make the world? And I don't have much of a brain for doing that. So it's like, how am I going to do it? You're going to go to Shantipur and sit in front of the deities and cry. I think I should read my offering, because my offering is exactly about this point. I just have to find it. Give me a second. This is a perfect segue. I don't know how we ended up here. I was supposed to talk about this later. We're on transcendental time schedule, I guess. I have to do one of those things where did I put it? Unless somebody has my offering somewhere. Found it somewhere. Vyasa Puja offerings. Okay, I think we're getting close. 2025, okay. It's your lucky day.
I also found it. So.
I got it. Thanks. Where did you find it?
In our siblings group.
Oh,
What's it?
okay. All right.
Radha Priya, she posted.
Okay, nice. My computer doesn't want to load Microsoft. Oh, that's interesting. Let's try it again. Or maybe it did. Hare Krishna. Maybe I should read it. It doesn't want to. Maybe I didn't pay my Microsoft account bill or something. Okay, so I'll read this because it's exactly about what we're talking about. Murphy's Law. Things will go wrong at the worst moment. Ram Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamini Namaste Shri Shakti Guru Gauravani Pacharani Namaste I'm reading this because I think it's totally relatable to everyone. Dear Srila Prabhupada, I wish I were a better and more capable disciple. If so, I could serve you in the way an exalted spiritual master like yourself deserves to be served. I have always wished I were more qualified as a person and as a devotee so that I could do more for you. If I were more intelligent, I would be able to convince the most intelligent people that Krishna consciousness is the real panacea for the world's ills. Plus, I would be able to make intelligent plans for spreading Krishna consciousness, plans that would take Krishna consciousness to new levels. I wish I were more spiritually advanced. If so, I could be a perfect example to others. Thus, I could inspire even those who are not doing well in Krishna consciousness or who have become alienated from bhakti or ISKCON. If I were more advanced, I could attract people to Krishna consciousness in the same way you did, just by your presence. Can you relate?
Yes.
I wish I had a more subtle brain. If so, I could better understand the nuances and implications of our philosophy and how it can be perfectly understood and applied in every situation. I would also always be able to identify if ever we are going off and exactly how to get back on track. I wish I were more insightful. If so, I would be able to envision exactly how you would want Krishna consciousness spread according to the changing times and culture of the ever-changing world. I could discern exactly how to do this without having to water down our teachings, while at the same time not alienating people. I wish I were more cultured. If so, I would be able to impress Krishna consciousness upon the most aristocratic people on the planet. I wish I were a better leader and manager. If so, I could help solve many of ISKCON's problems, devise strategies to prevent future problems, and ensure a brighter future for ISKCON. I would also be able to improve and or develop many of the projects that are dear to your heart. I wish I could perfectly follow all your instructions, just as you perfectly followed your Guru Maharaj's orders. If so, I could serve you infinitely more than I have. Actually, Srila Prabhupada, there are so many things I've always wished I were, solely because I wanted to serve you better. I always felt that you deserved better than what I could give you, and that you didn't deserve such an incompetent disciple as myself. You are the best, and you deserve the best. Unfortunately, I failed in so many ways, and I also gave you problems. But Okay, everyone, you can give up your depression because now there's a but. But for better or for worse, I am what Krishna sent you. And I know you accept and love me as I am. Although I can't offer you all that I would like to because I am lacking in many ways, what I can offer you is the best of what I am. Take me as I am, and I promise to give you the best of what I have to offer, whatever that is. And that's all we can do. Right? So we have this big mission. Just take me. You know, I'm useless. Prabhupada is so intelligent, so capable. Sometimes when you're with Prabhupada, you feel like an idiot. Because you say something, Prabhupada would reply and say, I wish I wouldn't have said that. Can we turn back the time clock? You know, too late now. I always pray I can do more for you because you are such an inspiration to me. And you want so badly to spread Krishna consciousness to every nook and corner of this planet, indeed to every nook and corner of the universe. Therefore I pray that you empower me so that I can be for you what I always wanted to be, an empowered servant who can perform wonderful activities in your service that far exceed my limited abilities. Your servant Mahatma does. So this is our position. Prabhupada has given us this mission which we look at and think, well, what can I do? And all we can do is be sincere and pray and ask Krishna to use us, to be willing. And the more you're willing, the more you can be used. And you may not be so smart or talented, but Krishna can use you if you want to be used. And so that's our desire. And Prabhupada will accept whatever you are and whatever you can do. And what else can we do? Right? And when you go back to Godhead, then you can tell Prabhupada what you did. You know, this is at least what you tried to do. And of course, if you try, something's going to happen, that's for sure. There's no question. And I think that the beginning of the movement is a testimony to a lot of incompetent people trying and getting amazing results. So, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Yeah. Are you just waiting for me to stop and you'll start? Yeah, okay. Well, give me another minute or two to think. Yeah. Of course, Prabhupada's mercy is especially abundant today on this appearance day, but I think appearance days of Prabhupada, like every year, you'll celebrate another appearance day, and every year you can go a little deeper in your understanding of Prabhupada and his mission and your relationship with him. And it just should grow over your life. And the more you connect with his mission, like what it exactly is that he wants, the closer you'll be to him, the more mercy you'll get. Doesn't mean you sacrifice your own sadhana. That's part of being connected with what Prabhupada wants. But you do something that will bring people to Krishna. Oh, I have a story. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
So, one of my godbrothers went to South Africa. I don't know when he went, maybe 1979. And maybe not a lot was going on. Excuse me. Maybe not a lot was going on. And he is a very good manager, and he made things happen. And so he organized like the first major Janmashtami in South Africa. And I think they had it outside outdoor Pondo. 50,000 people came. Like probably the Janmashtami before was 100 or 200. And then 50,000 people came. And he reported that to Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, I'm so proud of you. When I think of you, my chest swells in pride. So, of course, not all of us can do anything major, but anything we do, whatever result we get, you should know that you've pleased Prabhupada and he's proud of you and he's happy, and don't think otherwise. Because we're existing to please him, and he definitely reciprocates, and he knows what we're doing, and don't ever think he doesn't. And there's a story. Prabhupada was in London, and he asked to see the book distributors. This was the last time he was at Bhaktivedanta Manor, so there were about 15 book distributors, and he wanted them to come in the room, so they all came in, and he said, "Thank you for doing this." That's why he called them in, to thank. And they're all, "Thank you, but Prabhupada, thank you." No, thank you for doing this service. So don't think that Prabhupada doesn't appreciate it. So we have his example, what he did, we have his instructions, what he wants us to do, and we have so much evidence of how much he appreciates it. And that's how we remain connected. I think this is so important, because in Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja, if you remember, it's printed in all the Vyasa Puja books, he gave a lecture and he said, a festival of fruits and flowers does not constitute worship, but one who worships the order actually worships the Guru. Hey, Krishna's arrangement. One who worships the order of the Guru actually worships. So we don't want this day to go by as a festival of fruits and flowers, but we want to go deeper in our connection with Prabhupada, so we can actually worship his mission and his order, and that will please him the most. Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Mahatma Prabhu ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all of you for coming here. It's very, very